Last year saw the publication of private emails written in these buildings, the Climatic Research Unit at the University of East Anglia. Experts spoke of doing tricks with numbers. They hinted at the deletion of data that didn't fit their theories. This summer, an inquiry, the last of 3, left the scientists' reputation intact, but told them that they had to be more honest about how they reached their conclusions. Then came Glaciergate. In 2007, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the group of international scientists that inform global environmental policy, had written a report saying that most of the glaciers in the Himalayas could melt by 2035. But that was proved to be wildly inaccurate. The head of the IPCC, the Indian academic Rajendra Pachauri, came under pressure to quit. In future, chairmen will serve just 1 term. And again, the academics were told to be more honest about the question marks in their research. Back at home, David Cameron has pledged the greenest government ever, but there are limits. This week, the coalition announced it wouldn't fund tidal power in the Severn Estuary because the bill was too high.
Well, Nigel Lawson is, of course, still with us, and we are joined by Professor Bob Watson, the Chief Scientific Advisor for the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, who used to chair the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So there we have it, a poll suggesting that people are more confused than ever before about this issue. Is that because the scientific consensus has been obliterated?
No, the science is, in my opinion, very solid. What we've got to do is communicate what we know and what we don't know in a much more understandable way. We need to talk about uncertainties in a much more open way so that the public actually understand what does the science say, what are the implications of climate change, and what's the range of response options that we have.
Why has it been so raggedy of late? You've had errors in the IPCC report, you've got the leaked emails, which we've talked about on this programme with you before, we've got lack of consensus at Copenhagen.
But no one has challenged the science of Working Group 1. There was not a single challenge to that. There were probably 5 small mistakes, although one serious one on Himalayagate, so to speak. But in reality, in 3,000 pages of documents, maybe 5 or 6 sentences could be challenged. But no one has undermined are human activities changing the Earth's climate? And if we want to avoid the predominantly negative effects of climate change, what are the range of policies and technologies that we can address? National Academy of Sciences in America came out with a series of new reports recently, strongly supporting the contention the Earth's climate is changing, we humans are largely responsible, and future climate change is inevitable.
But it keeps on unraveling for you. I mean, you've had the IPCC report 2007, you had the leaked emails, and now we learn that all of your models included an assumption that when the solar activity of the sun waned, the amount of light and heat reaching the Earth fell. It now turns out that it actually rose. So your models now have to be redone again.
Well, science is always evolving, and we've always been looking not only at how human activities could affect the Earth's climate, but also looking at solar radiation.
So this means that some of the rises in temperatures recently, if it turns out that when solar activity wanes, the Earth's temperatures rise, some of the rise that we've seen recently could be a result of solar activity and not man's
but also
actions,
a very,
correct?
very small part, but very small part.
But your models were wrong.
There's always uncertainty, and that's why I've said earlier, we need to
was it wrong or uncertain?
We have to look at the uncertainties, and it's not so much wrong but uncertain, and therefore what we have to argue is to what degree do we know things well and to what degree are there uncertainties. But quite clearly solar activity is not the dominant reason.
I'm not
for
arguing
changing the
that.
Earth's climate.
I'm not claiming that. Neither did the Nature magazine,
Right.
which is on your side in the argument, Nature.
Right.
But what I'm saying, this is not a matter of uncertainty. This is a matter of right or wrong. Your models assume that when the sun waned, temperatures on the Earth fell. It now turns out that when the sun wanes, for reasons I'm not a physicist, light and heat reaching the Earth actually rises. So your models, which were saying this is a result of human activity, some of the rise, not all, some of it was actually the result of solar activity. Now, why don't you just admit that?
It does not undermine the basic contention that we humans are changing the Earth's climate. And if we want to avoid those changes in the Earth's climate, we're going to have to move to a low-carbon economy.
Nigel Lawson, what if you're wrong?
I think that what is quite clear is that the professor here is acting a little bit like a politician. He is making a case. in a slightly, if I may say so, slippery way. He says the science is established. The point is, what is established is that other things being equal, through the greenhouse effect, which certainly exists, increased concentrations in the atmosphere of carbon dioxide will have a warming effect. Nobody knows how big a warming effect. Nobody knows whether other things are equal. They have these models. You refer to the models. The models predicted that during this century so far, the first decade, there will be accelerated warming. In fact, what the recorded figures show is that there's been no warming at all during the first 10 years.
We're going to have to leave there because we've run out of time, but please come back. We've neglected this subject recently.
Right.
I think we should come back and do
Sure.
more of it. I thank you for being with us today.